But Jim Lebenthal, what do you make of it? Because it has been stunning, a place where you're underweight in terms of large cap technology stocks. But that's a large reason why we're feeling so much better about the overall market, because these stocks have run so far and they're some of the biggest stocks in the market.
Yeah, yes, Scott, and I think they can run further. I do want to delineate within the NASDAQ between what I consider to be high-quality, growth at a reasonable price technology stocks, mainly the FANG, but throw Qualcomm and others like that in there. I think those will do just fine this year. What does that mean? I think from here you're going to get another, 7 to 10% price appreciation, something that's commensurate with how their earnings per share are growing, but I just don't think you're going to get multiple expansion on top of that. Where I am even more underweight is the hypergrowth stocks. The software, high price to sales companies. I still think those are going to be very challenged. Yes, they may have some rips to the upside, but they're likely to give it right back, and that's not where I think long-term investments are to be made. I do just want to say one thing. While I am underweight growth at a reasonable price technology, I still believe in it. I just believe more that in the cyclicals and values, where not only do I think you're going to get earnings per share growth higher than the market, but I think you actually could get multiple expansion.
Okay, there you go. The 10-year yield hitting 250, NASDAQ trading off a little bit. They have been tied at points, although some have dispelled this notion that higher rates are necessarily horrible for longer duration assets, and the way that those assets have traded at times would certainly help you dispel that too. But Pete Najarian, I think we got your mic back. You're the one who has pointed out this bullish activity in the Apples and these mega cap stocks for the duration of this week.
Yeah, and it's been a really busy week, Scott, and it's been a pretty nice run. Obviously, as you point out, 1,500 points is nothing to sneeze at when you're talking about the NASDAQ and where the levels are where it is. So incredible. And we've seen so much option paper that's come into names like Apple and some into Facebook and AMD and NVIDIA and Tesla. There's all kinds of different names within the tech world where we have seen this, and it's been incredible, including Microsoft as well. I left that one out. I apologize. But we've also seen it out of some of the Chinese names as they made that big turn, Scott, as well. So it has been very telling. I still think that you've got to be very, very careful. I don't know that you want to stand back there and after you've had some of these gains, just say, you know what, I think this thing's going to continue on. I think you have to be very, very disciplined in this market because we all know how fast things can flip around. We look at that volatility index. It was 37 2 weeks ago. Here we are today. We were down to the 21s. Now we're close to 22.5, 23. It shows you how fast things are moving in the markets that we're in right now.
So, Bryn, I give you, to Pete's point, it's a good one, too. I mean, the burst off the bottom. On March 14th, Apple was 150. We know where it is today. It's not all that far away from new highs. And I'm starting to wonder whether, if this keeps up, if the next stop, if there's enough momentum to carry these stocks back to new highs. Apple's 5.5% from its high. Amazon's 14%. Alphabet's come a long way back. It's only 7.5% from its high. Microsoft 14%, NVIDIA 21%, and Tesla 20%. What do you think?
I think that we're hitting some really strong technical resistance for the NASDAQ and the S&P. On the NASDAQ, we've, as everyone's just talked about, such a spectacular run, which is nice to see. But I want to say about 14,800 to 15,000 on the NASDAQ is really strong headwind. So as a trader, I don't think I would be putting on fresh trades in, especially some of the higher growth names that have run. But as an investor or a trader, I think what's really interesting and what people should look at is if you look at a name like Square. Square's up about almost 40% in the last couple of weeks versus a PayPal, which I own, which hasn't even remotely had that move. And so I do think it's important to analyze these individual stocks and say which ones are really running, because when finally we will have markets at some point will have new highs, which stocks have more strength. I definitely think this is a good opportunity to be taking an eye to that. And look at NVIDIA just the past couple of days. Great example of a stock that once this market gets going, I think that's a kind of name that you're going to want to be in.